And we are back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. It's Frankly Football in the building. I'm Brandon, and I got my man, Honey Graham, with me. It's set off Chris in the building. Chris, how you doing, man?
Let's go! What's up, baby?
Chris, we survived through the bye week, man. The bye week is a very boring time, man, especially when you're good. You know, because all you got to do is hope your guys stay out of trouble and don't get DUIs, you know?
Yeah. You pray that they keep themselves on the straight and narrow without football being part of their lives. But what it does do for us, B, it gives us to question everything about a good football team. I know you've been on YouTube, I've been on YouTube. So from Vach to Koye Media, to Foots, to Joe Rod, to Skywalker Steel at A to Z Sports, from Jay Tuck, Cowboy, CFT, man, everybody.
Man, you named a whole bunch of guys that I wiped the floor with in fantasy football. Ain't that weird?
Hey man, your skills in fantasy are dope. But what ends up happening, man, is you have 1,001 questions because we as Cowboy fans, you know, we're always looking for the quest for 6. And now we start questioning different things. And because me and you kind of went into the draft world a little bit last year, a little deep, we now start sitting and saying, who do you sign? Who do you sign? Who do you trade? And who do you let it ride with? Okay.
Okay. Because the trade deadline is fast approaching. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Carry on.
So we're gonna go ahead and get this one out the way. So before anybody goes online and looks and says, "Hey, Frankly Football didn't say this," let's get this out of the way. There's only one guy that needs to be signed right now. Matter of fact, he should have gotten signed as soon as the game was over in New England, and that is one Mr. Randy Gregory, who used to be on this channel known as Lord Voldemort, because we wouldn't say his name because he was always in trouble. Well, not in trouble as a person, but just violating the substance abuse program that the NFL had in place at the time. But since then, Randy has been flat out a menace in the NFL. He has been straight getting after the quarterback, man, doing amazing things on the field, man. And he has been everything that me and you both believe he would be. You had made a post on Twitter saying, before anyone else had said, would Randy be a double-digit sack guy, me and you were on record for saying he would be that guy.
I like being first, man. I just want my credit sometime, Chris.
Absolutely.
I just want my credit. You know, that's what I. But before I can say that I can do this thing for a living. Right now, I told you so guy. Give me my credit. You know,
give you your props. Give me your props.
Give me my respect, Chris.
Got you. So there's no question. I think across the board, I know especially on Frankly Football and across Cowboy Nation, Randy Gregory should have been signed like yesterday. Get ahead of the pack on him, so that we don't have to deal with the other 31 teams in the NFL making an offer to him that's going to be sweeter than ours. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to end up doing a whole show on when he does get signed and for what he gets signed for. So now we start looking on both sides of the ball. Guys who, like you said, who we should sign, who we should trade, or who we should let it ride. And when we look on the offense side of the football, there's only 3 names that are kind of on the forefront of what we might do. One is the young wide receiver out of Colorado State, Mr. Michael Gallup.
Yes.
The other person is the much maligned and often criticized left guard, Connor Williams. And then last but not least is the emerging, steady, and very much explosive tight end, Dalton Schultz. So who you want to start with, bro? Who you want to go with first?
So let's start with Michael Gallup, because prior to the 2021 season, Michael Gallup was the big name that people were talking about that Dallas would have to break the bank to sign, because we have Amari Cooper already taking up a large chunk of cap space. But Michael Gallup got hurt in week 1. He has 37 yards, somewhere around that area.
Right. I think he has
total on
like
the
8.
season.
Yeah, I think he has, I want to say 8 catches, 38 yards, and he was an integral part of kind of breaking down that Bucs defense in that first quarter before he got hurt with his long handoff and screens and his physical play.
Absolutely. But he's been hurt since then. So
Mm-hmm.
now Michael Gallup has 9 regular season games and a playoff run to prove his contract value. So that is my answer. You let it ride, and then you have the conversation with him in the offseason. Hopefully he gives Dallas those first rights, to that conversation. But you can't, in good faith, sign him now. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. I'm in 100% agreement with you. This is a league where what have you done for me lately? And you have to keep updating what you do, as they say, update your resume. But here's the other thing about it. This is a league where skill position players are in abundance. You're bringing in new guys every year to train and develop. And we got Michael Gallup in the 3rd round. Okay.
Yes.
And not say in Will, I trust. That's it. In Will McClay, I trust of going out and finding premium talent. And Dallas loves to groom their own. They're not a big spender in free agency when it comes to those positions. Outside of Amari Cooper, we like to go draft our guys, train and develop our guys, and then you get to reap the reward of Stephen Jones's favorite commodity: young talent, cheap.
Absolutely.
That's Stephen all day. So I think Michael Gallup, like you said, is in a position where he can say, "Hey, we make this nice run. We make this nice run to the in the playoffs. God willing, we get number 6. If not, we make a impressive run, and then he can see what the market offers. He may say, "Hey, I may want to go over here and be this," but I think it's a lot different because I don't think Michael Gallup is a bona fide 1. I think Michael Gallup is a solidified number 2. And when you go with money, you go from being a solid 2 to having to be the 1. And I don't think he's that guy. So I'm gonna let it ride with Michael Gallup. Now, if I had to deal with the most important part of your football team, because 5 of those guys make up the majority of your offense. When I look at my offensive line, Connor Williams, for the most part, is one of the top guards in football, or better yet, and I'm gonna say top guards in football. He's one of the best 64 guards in football. I want to say upper half guards in football. I think because we in Dallas are so spoiled with offensive linemen, we rate them at a different level. So as I was sitting this past week during the bye thinking, okay, we're so spoiled at left guard because we look at DeMarco Murray's 1,800-yard season, right? We look at how the Great Wall of Dallas was built. But when we look at that 1,800-yard season, the left guard was not the guy most people are clamoring to move back to left guard. It's a guy that's no longer in football. And that's Ron Leary.
Absolutely.
Right. So Connor Williams is not the powerhouse that Ron Leary was. Okay. So, but he is technically sound. He's a little bit smallish. He gets beat up. He gets pushed back. But we a lot of times grade him on 5 to 6 plays compared to the 70 plays he plays. Do you agree? I mean, what do you think on that, Brandon?
And I think you do that with everybody. If a guy has one mishap and it's a major mishap and that gets replayed over these networks, that's going to be the glaring thing. That's going to be the stain on the wall, If you see these are light colored walls behind you, if you have a stain right here, that's going to be the one thing that pops out, not the totality of everything behind you.
Okay, gotcha. Nice.
And that is generally what happens with Connor Williams. Now, I'm actually very conflicted about Connor Williams because I'm not sure that he has reached his full developmental peak yet, and you may be able to capitalize on that by signing him, or you may want to cut bait. So it really is a hard. It's a good dilemma to have because we have an abundance of alignment, but it's a hard choice to make, you know?
Okay, so do you sign him, trade him, or you let it ride?
I have to let it ride out, man. I would honestly have to let Connor Williams ride out because as it stands right now, I don't feel as though he is the long-term answer. I have went back and forth in my head many a time saying that we should push Connor McGovern into the starting left guard position.
I
don't feel as though Connor Williams will be the long-term answer. And I think that if given the opportunity, Connor McGovern will be a better guard.
I got to really give a lot of credit to the Dallas Cowboy organization because a guy going into his contract year, they could have easily, for most people's feelings, put Connor McGovern in at left guard, especially after how he showed and played in week 1 against Tampa and held his own for the most part. So now what you're saying as an offensive lineman, he needs reps. But the Cowboys have stuck with Connor Williams. He has struggled. He struggled in the last game against New England. But I also think he made some time, if there's such thing as a timely hold, where he held the guy to keep from killing or really hitting Rain really hard and prevented that. But at the end of the day, he got caught holding. So I think in totality, Connor Williams is a guy that you can turn around and let it ride, let him play out. And he can be that one thing, man, Dallas Cowboy fans love, man. He can be a compensatory pick because we love getting compensatory picks. Now, the last guy is kind of an enigma. He kind of came out of nowhere. And once we got the progress stopper out the building, he proved to be a far better commodity than we could have ever imagined. And that's one Dalton Schultz, man. Tell me how you feel about Dalton, bro.
Dalton Schultz is a guy who has, as you said, once we got the wall out of his way, and Jason Witten was a guy who was a progress stopper for many a tight end. I think that there were many tight ends that were in Dallas during Jason Witten's tenure here.
That dude got some bodies. That dude got some bodies. That dude got some bodies on him that he done killed some careers.
Absolutely. And once we got that out of Dalton's way, he was able to progress as a pass catcher. We did not expect Dalton Schultz to be a pass catcher. He was the blocking tight end. He was never expected to be the guy that would run routes. He got his body leaner. He became faster. And excuse me.
God bless.
Thank you very much. And he was able to be the guy that we would be able to run 12 personnel with. He's doing what we expected Blake Jarwin to do, and he became the tight end 1. Dalton Schultz is now our tight end 1.
Okay.
So it now becomes an issue is I would re-sign Dalton Schultz, and I would look at Blake Jarwin as the trade bait. Because I feel like Dalton Schultz now fits what we want to do better. We target Dalton Schultz more. We use him more in blocking because Dalton Schultz is still a better blocker than Blake Jarwin. Okay. So this is kind of like a two-parter. I would sign Dalton Schultz, and I would look at using Blake Jarwin as the trade bait.
Okay. I'm gonna push back on that because I think we love the unknown story, with the tight end position. I think Blake Jarwin coming off knee ACL tear from last year is to the point of progressing to being back to 110%. And so you got a contract on him. My thing is that I think that Dalton Schultz 2.0 is on the bench, and that's in one Sean McEwen. So I believe if Sean McEwen gets the opportunity to get reps, be able to play, then you can let Dalton Schultz walk. Sean McEwen comes and becomes that guy again, and then we can draft another guy to be the fourth tight end because it always goes back to young, cheap labor, talented, cheap labor. And I want y'all to understand where I'm coming from, and I think Brandon understands as well, is that once you pay your franchise quarterback, there are only certain positions that you must pay premium dollar. Your quarterback, your left tackle, and your guy who goes and gets the quarterback. And then you got to pay your cover guy. So Dallas is in a kind of a dilemma right now where this year and then going into the end of next year, they can kind of spread the wealth around, and some people are going to have to continue to develop underneath to be able to go to work from that aspect.
Now, this may be another aspect of us being spoiled, but I also think that the rest of the league is kind of catching up on this as well. But tight end has a history of being able to strike gold in the later rounds. So if Dalton were to walk, I think that we are a good enough drafting team to where we can find a replacement. I think that we scout talent very well. And Blake and Dalton weren't highly coveted guys. Neither one of them were first or second round guys. I think that Dalton was a third round guy.
I don't think Dalton was that high. I think he was like a fourth round guy.
Possibly. Let me see. Dalton Schultz was a fourth round guy. Absolutely.
Right. He's a fourth round draft pick. Yeah.
So if you look at that, we have a history of being able to, and statistically anyway, tight end has a history of being able to have the guys be successful, even though they are not first round guys. If you look at one of the best tight ends in the game right now, George Kittle, he was a fifth round guy. Darren Waller, I believe, was an undrafted guy or a seventh round guy.
Right. So you know the progression goes from you having to take a first round draft pick like a TJ Hawkinson, which is in Detroit, or a Noah Fant is in Denver. Go get that guy. Or you can turn around and develop a guy that comes from a good pedigree, which at the end of the day, Dalton Schultz came from out of Stanford, had a pedigree of being a blocker. Came in the league, got his body right, got some of the magical peanut butter, became a sufficient blocker, and over time has become a really good pass catching tight end. So I think you can do that as well with Sean McEwen coming off the bench, or just getting another year to be in the system. So of the guys we can recap on the offensive side, we let it ride with Michael Gallup, we let it ride with Connor Williams, and we let it ride with Dalton Schultz.
Absolutely. Now we're looking on to the other side of the ball. There are a lot more question marks on the defensive side of the ball because we brought in a lot more guys on 1-year deals. Would you like to go down the guys that you selected?
I mean, we'll go down the list, but you got to understand our dilemma. You turned around from in 2020 to having the absolute worst defense in Dallas Cowboy history.
Yeah.
So within 6 games, you're a upper tier, top 10, top 5 defense in the league when it comes to yards and turnovers and just being a really good football team. So it's a hard dilemma. But if I look of my 1-year deals, man, that are across the board, my couple of 1-year deals are one with a Keanu Neal,
yes,
and Leighton Vander Esch, right? That many of us already know about. And then in my secondary with Javon Curse, Demonzi KZ, as well as with Malik Hooker. So what you think about the linebacker core? Who we keeping, who we letting walk?
I'm definitely re-signing Keanu Neal. He's only 26.
Okay.
He's a guy who came in and especially early was able to really provide a spark to this defense. I think that even though Jabril Cox will have had a year in this defense, and I'm sorry if you hear a lot of thunder, it is really raining.
No, you good, man.
But even alongside Jabril Cox, he will still be able to provide that coverage skill because he has those hybrid qualities. He'll be able to cover those guys in space, and that gives our defense a lot of different opportunities to ensure that guys don't get behind us. And that's his niche. He was a safety that was playing. I mean, he was a linebacker that was playing safety. Now he's moved into his natural position now, and he has some of those safety skills still. So I definitely want to re-sign Keanu Neal. He's only going to be 27 years old next year. He's matter of fact, he's a very young 26. He just turned 26 last month.
Got you. And he'll be better served after having a full year of playing and be a year further removed from his Achilles tendon surgery or injury.
Yes.
So I definitely believe in bringing him back, even though they kind of voided his stuff out. Now we talk about the deuce of spades in this whole thing. Because, you know, when you play spades, bro, if you got the ace, you got the king, queen, the king, and the ace, right? The next card you want to have, man, is that two of spades, man. And the two of spades can do a lot of different things, but it's not the most prominent piece and prominent card when you're playing spades. So that's what I call LVE, man. LVE is that book that's sitting out there that you know you can get somebody set on, and that's what he is. And he has kind of been serviceable, not spectacular, but you kind of know he's on the field. I think the problem is that the speed of Keanu Neal and the explosive play of Micah Parsons and the ranginess and desire to see Jabril Cox makes LVE expendable. What you think, bro?
I agree. He is expendable with our current personnel. If he wants to come back cheap, great. Otherwise, I'm letting him ride until the end of this year.
Got it.
I'm not interested in re-signing him because he has proven that he cannot stay healthy. He got a brain in his neck, but I'm not sure if that is strong enough to hold up.
Okay.
But Leighton is a guy who I think that maybe he just needs a change of scenery. He needs to get somewhere. Maybe they got a different climate. Maybe the Dallas climate is just bad for his neck. You know, maybe he needs a different climate, man. Maybe he needs to be in like San Francisco or something like that. Somewhere where that has a different climate and he can go be somewhere else, but not here.
Okay, but I mean.
We have his replacement already. We drafted his replacement. That's Jabril Cox. Once Cox gets a full off season under him, and we hopefully re-sign Keanu Neal during this season. We can let Leighton ride into the sunset. And they've already proven that they're not interested in necessarily pursuing him by not pursuing his fifth-year option.
Yeah, you know what? I think they did it out the gate by saying they didn't want to resign him. They did that by doing the injury settlement, keeping him from having an injury settlement that would guarantee his contract. So I think he can come back. If he can come back on the cheap, fine. But at the end of the day, man, he's just that nice, extra piece you can use for either resting or getting pinched by injury. But outside of that, I think he will be changing scenery next year. So now you look at the one area, man, that has been our bugaboo for a while. I'm talking about it's been our bugaboo since Juan Thornhill was on the draft board, when Taylor Rapp was out there and everybody was like, oh my God, getting a safety. And I think with the additions of Javon Curse, who I didn't think was going to be any more than a special team guy, DeMonte KZ, a free agent pickup from Atlanta, and the addition of Malik Hooker, whom I thought was always a first-round talent, the guy that you want to keep. Of those three guys, man, who do you want to resign?
I think I would resign Hooker of the three, because I want him to have more time to get help, so that I think that the more time that Hooker has to get healthy, especially Dallas has the best joint or best tendon doctor in the league on their payroll. I can't remember his name, to be totally honest, but anything involving ACL or a tendon or anything like that, he's involved.
Okay.
So if you get Malik Hooker in his office, then I think that he would be more less likely to re-injure himself.
Okay.
And if healthy, I think that Malik Hooker has the highest ceiling of the three.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with I love your analogy on that. I think of the guys that I want to resign, that I must resign. I think I gotta sign Javon Curse. I think Javon Curse gives me the ability to really be physical, rangy, and bring sort of type of attitude that I want on my defense. I like his play. I think he's finally coming into his own after bouncing around the league a little bit. And I think he might end up playing himself out of Dallas's market for a safety and end up having to go elsewhere. I definitely want to bring Malik Hooker back without question. Like you said, his ceiling is incredible. So bring him back and put him on the field and give him a whole nother year to get fully healthy and see what he can do.
The guy who I think would actually play himself out of Dallas's market may be KZ, just because he's already had a great game. He played astronomical in that Chargers game. I think that out of the three guys, he probably had the single best game.
Okay.
I don't think that out of the three of them, any of them had as good of a game as he had against the Chargers. He forced a fumble and had an interception again in that single game.
Yeah, you're right.
So if we're looking at just in the space of these 6 games, none of those guys have had as good of a game as we had.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay, I give you that. You had to refresh my memory on that. So that was a good one. So in recapping,
one thing that Curse is amazingly good at blitzing. I think that he when we blitz him, I think he's gotten like 5 tackles for loss. And
he does. He does have 5 tackles. I just think his physical play is what you want back there with your strong safety. He's got the range. He can play the big nickel where you can drop people down, and he just gets his way around the football. And that tackle for loss is huge. So in recapping, we'll say in order of top to bottom, the number one guy you want to sign is Malik Hooker. Then with addition to Jerron Curse, and then KZ. Is that what you want to put in that order?
Yes. If I had to go in order, it would be Hooker, Curse, KZ.
Okay, and I would be different. I would switch Curse and Hooker, because my number one priority would be to find Javon Curse, Malik Hooker, and another year inside the system because of the talent, and DeMonte Casey if he's available. So that's basically it. Go ahead.
Would you be interested in trading any of those guys, since all 3 of them are kind of in the same position?
No. Okay, because I don't believe that my depth in that position is deep enough for me to trade someone, because I think a lot of people think, okay, you got Donovan Wilson, so I can bring Donovan Wilson.
He hasn't lived up to the hype. You haven't heard Donovan Wilson's name called this season?
Yeah, I mean, he's just getting back. The ball magnet, the Super Bowl magnet transferred from him, because he was that guy in 2020 to one defensive player of the year, Trayvon Diggs.
Hey, and
we're going to say it. We're going to go and say it. Say it.
He spent all season buying real estate in the middle of the ocean.
Yes, and depositing wide receivers all over the place. So
absolutely,
put spec on his name, for Trayvon Diggs. And if you don't know his name, ask Aiden, his son. He'll tell you who his daddy is. So I think it's a position of strength right now. We have a strong rotation, and I don't think the young bucks are behind him, and the Israel Mukwamu is ready. You like how I flowed with that thing, right? Was able to turn around and be able to go ahead and take snaps and be as effective right now as a KZ, as a Malik Hooker, or even as such as Devon Kurtz. So I don't think you trade anybody away.
I can dig it. I can absolutely dig it. Were there anyone else that you would potentially look at?
No, no, because we're gonna be able to be messy enough when the season's over. Cause somebody money gonna have to get different forward or cut. Cause I got some different dogs on this defense that I'm gonna want to see if they can play with playing time. And it's just not something for another show for us, so we can put out more content.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to kind of throw a bone into it then. So why don't you look at trading a guy like Jordan Lewis
then? Nice addition of trading Jordan Lewis. I would only want to trade Jordan Lewis if I had these first 6 games and I had Kelvin Joseph playing those 6 games and I wanted to move Anthony Brown back to the slot because Kelvin Joseph is demanding to be on the field. Right now, I just need to get my second round draft pick healthy so he can get on the field and do what he does. And I think that will take care of itself because his athleticism, his ball skills, his coverage ability is top notch from what we saw when he was at Kentucky. So I think him getting a chance to get his feet wet, fire by baptized, get burnt a little bit, get beat a little bit, work on some different things, he'll be ready to play and ready to contribute. And I don't need to be able to make any moves like that.
Okay. Well, sadly, we don't have much time to make that decision. Kelvin Joseph may only get 1 game to play. If he's going to play against the Vikings, this is going to be the only game where we get to evaluate him before we get to make any of those last-second decisions at any of those other DBs.
Okay. Well, that's what's up, man. So listen, man, as always, man, we appreciate you rocking with us, man. We try to get on here once and we try to, work on some different segments. I'm still not as confident as I want to be to do my stuff on the road, trying to get my piece set up, as the thunder is rumbling in the background at V's place. We bring the noise, at all times when we get together.
Always.
So if you're gonna take this time to get to this point in the video with us, man, hit the like button, man. Smash that thing, man. If you get an opportunity to know some people who know a little football, think they got a little knowledge, man, share this thing, man. And we always appreciate you jumping in the comments and hollering at us, man. Listen, man, I am Set It Off Chris, man.
And I'm Brandon. This has been Frankly Football. Peace.